everybody, it's Lindsay, owner of North End Organic Nursery, and here is your Garden Minutes. So today we're going to talk about blueberries, specifically growing blueberries in the Intermountain West, like here in Boise, Idaho. Our soils here tend to be very alkaline, and that's really the only thing that's a limiting factor with blueberries. The things that they really like: sun, like all fruiting plants, lots of water, they have a shallow root system, and they like acidic soil. Naturally, where these plants grow are places along really wet, moist regions, typically along coastal areas. Some big areas are like Washington, Oregon, Houston, Delaware, places that are very much not like here. So if we want to enjoy the fruits of our labor here in the Treasure Valley, we need to make some serious adjustments to our soil. So pHs around here tend to hover in the 7.5 and up. Blueberries like a pH of about 5.5. So in order to have successful berries grow here, you have to address the pH issue. Today we're going to be planting some blueberries and modifying the pH in advance by putting down and planting the berries in an acid planting mix. My favorite is this product from Gardener & Bloom, certified organic. We're going to actually remove soil, replace the soil with the acid planting mix, plant the blueberry, and then fill in around that blueberry also with the acid planting mix. Now, typically when we're telling people to plant trees, shrubs, or perennials, we want them to plant them in their native soil so that the plant gets used to the native soil and doesn't really get accustomed to the rich, composty soil that we often want to put in holes as we're planting. That's not the case with blueberries. If you don't change the soil, you're gonna have failure, just straight up. The nice thing with blueberries is that their root system is so shallow that you don't have to amend forever in order to make a difference. So I'm gonna dig some holes and start backfilling with some of the acid planting mix. Be right back. Now that I've gotten my hole dug, I'm going to actually backfill my hole, like I said, with the acid planting mix. It's got a great mix of like some peat moss and some fir bark. It has some kapoxide meal and other nutrients also, so it's a great way to get your plants kick-started. I know a lot of people who buy this particular soil for every place in their garden because there's nothing around here that doesn't appreciate a little bit more acidity than what we have naturally. So nice bagged product to use. If you're in a different part of the country, you don't have access to this, I'm sure there are good acid planting mixes as well. And also you might need to check your pH to make sure you actually need to modify it. Here in the Treasure Valley, it's a pretty sure thing. So even if you already have acidic soil, this isn't going to make it more acid. It's just going to ensure and give your plants that ability to grow, knowing that the pH is right. So I'm going to backfill my hole, and I made the hole about, I don't know, probably about 2 to 3 times as wide as the pot, only about as deep as the pot. I'm not going to go much deeper than the actual pot size, and I'll put a little bit of the acid planting mix on the bottom, and then I'll just drop my plant right on top. You'll see. Now into the hole, you don't absolutely have to fertilize right away, but you're never going to get under the plant again, so I am going to use some of the down-to-earth acid acid-loving fertilizer. In accordance with the directions, I believe it's like a half a cup per plant. That's about half a cup to me. Here we go. Now in future years, you're going to want to continue to fertilize with this at least a couple of times a year. If your pH starts to really rise, using something like the Spoma soil acidifier will really help as well. This is basically some fast-acting sulfur that will help to raise the pH of your soil. So I've got my soil in here, a little bit of fertilizer. I'm going to mix it in a bit. It might be a little bit too backfilled, but we're going to take a look. So here's my blueberry. This one's a legacy blueberry. I'm doing a whole wall of blueberries here along this fence line. I'll take some shots here in a second, let you guys see it. So But so I'm really amending this whole area. I'm spacing them about 4 feet apart. 5 feet is usually ideal. 4 feet is what they're getting. I have fence posts that are 8 feet apart. So the easy way for me to measure the distance between them is post in between post. That's just how it's gonna be. All right, got my blueberry. That looks about right. Make sure that it's sitting straight. Looks good. Now we're gonna take that acid planting mix, pour it around again. Probably gonna be able to use the rest of this bag. Find about 1 bag covers approximately 2 blueberry plants and planting. That looks about right. So this is not super tricky. Dug a hole, backfilled it with some acid planting mix, backfilling again. Some things to know about blueberries though. They're partially self-fruitful, but they are much better off with a friend. So planting a couple blueberries near each other, it's really recommended. I have from very early to very late. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 blueberries that I'm planting. So I have a continual harvest. One of the things you really want to make sure though is that the berries you're planting are in the same time period for their bloom. So if I'm planting an early or a very early variety, I want to make sure that I'm also planting another early or an early mid. If I'm planting a mid, maybe I can do an early mid or a mid late. You want to make sure they share words so that they are blooming relatively at the same time so that you can have the maximum fruit set from the pollinators, right? So you'll get some fruit by themselves, but you'll get much better fruit if they have a friend. So that's all we have to do here today. I'm probably gonna come back and top dress this with more mulch. Sorry, not more mulch, but more of the acid planting mix as the years go by, maybe even in the fall, give it a little freshen up. But that's it, that's planting a blueberry here in the Treasure Valley. Pay attention to the pH. You also wanna make sure you pay attention to water. These are water-loving plants. This is not a good addition to a xeric garden. This is a great thing for a area in your garden that maybe is a little bit boggy. In this particular situation, since they're all in a row here for me, I can control the irrigation down this line and make sure that they're getting enough water. One of the myths about blueberries is that they do not like sun. Well, no. Every blueberry farm I've ever been to, they are in full sun and doing fantastic. What they don't like is to get dry. And if you've got full afternoon sun especially, they're gonna dry out a lot faster. So as long as you're paying attention to the soil and to the irrigation, growing blueberries here in the Treasure Valley works out just great. So thanks for joining us today. This has been Lindsay with Garden Minutes, and can't wait to see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.